Alright, so this is Hyper Void for PSVR. It looks like I'm on the little camera. That's never happened before. They must have updated something, because before I couldn't play VR and be in the camera at the same time. That might go away when I hit play VR, we'll see. Probably. Yeah, kind of looks like it. Alright, so this is Hyper Void for PSVR. It's about $10. This game, Hyper Void, has been out for a while already, but they just added VR support for free. So if you have it, it's a free add-on, and if not, it's $10. I will say, probably out of all the games I've played, you know, I don't know if I can recommend this one. Even for $10, I really wanted to like it. It's kind of a fun, like, arcadey, you know, almost like Tempest or Galaga or something like that. Really kind of retro. And, you know, the look of it, in some cases, it looks like it would look pretty good on VR. But honestly, the enemies are boring as hell. They're always the same. Just some floating little ball with some stuff sticking out of it. And, like, this kind of stuff, the backgrounds are not great. It's just kind of like a static background, which in VR, you know, I feel like I'm moving forward, but at the same time I feel like I'm moving nowhere because the background is staying exactly the same. It's totally static. And, like, parts like this feel kind of uninspired because it's just like a shitload of asteroids coming at me, but really nothing else for the next, like, minute or two. The best parts of this game are when it gets into, I mentioned Tempest, which is kind of an old-school arcade shooter where you rotate around almost like a tube.
I just picked it up yesterday and haven't played.
Yeah, so it's, thanks for joining whoever's commenting. I can sort of hear you. It's got like a text-to-speech thing, but I don't really hear you. So, I don't know, this part is not that great. You have 3 firing options. I guess I'll just describe what you can do. You can shoot with the X button, the square button, which is that guy here, or the circle, which is sort of a beam. None of them feel that powerful. Ah, holy shit, I'm talking too much. I'm getting hit by these things. There's also a dash button. So, I mean, I'm getting hurt. I guess you could say it's semi-difficult, but it's just like, I've just been floating at asteroids looking at the same background for the last minute. So it's not that exciting. The best parts, like I was saying, are kind of like Tempest, which you're in almost like a tube. And they'll probably put me in one of these parts here soon so I can kind of show you, hopefully. So there's little areas you jump between. Thankfully we're not here the whole time. This looks like it might be a little more... Okay, this is kind of what I'm talking about. So you can move... Oh, wait. Was that the whole stage? Yeah. It does this little thing in between where you kind of save. Alright, so this is more along the lines of the kind of tube thing I was talking about. And this is when it looks okay. When you're in one of these little kind of half pipes or full 360 tubes and the guys are coming at you. The other parts I don't really love too much. But even for $10, which is pretty cheap, you know, as far as VR games go, I would say, I don't really know about this one. It kind of feels half-assed. The VR support is fine. I mean, things look 3D when they come at you, and so, you know, the VR part of it does add a little bit, I guess. I definitely, you know, this game was not on my radar as a 2D normal game, even though it's been out for like a year, and it just popped on because they added the VR support. But I don't know if that's enough for me to recommend it. You know, you can probably get about... I died. You can probably get about 15-20 minutes of enjoyment out of this. I got to, like... Let me see, like the 5th stage. One thing I'll mention too is it kept crashing. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't crashed yet. More than any other PSVR game. It feels like I'm playing No Man's Sky or some shit. It just like keeps crashing all the time. So that'll probably happen, and that'll be the end of the review at some point. But it seems to be when it's saving in between stages, mostly. But it doesn't lose your progress, so I guess that's not a huge issue if you don't mind just starting over again. But I mean, occasionally, like, this part is a little hectic, it's a little fun, I like the way it looks. You know, a lot of the time it's tedious, and it doesn't feel like a whole lot of fun. So, I don't know. I would definitely say if you want a shooter on PSVR, kind of like this, they have Super Stardust VR, which I haven't played yet, but I mean, that's a great game, so I'm sure it's great in VR. And also, like Rez is so much better than this. Rez has so much more imagination than this. But it's, you know, for $10, it's not the worst thing you could get, I suppose. Now they have these little informational parts. Something is changing the default programming of these ships we are facing. Okay. So I think this is the part where you get a virus. And so occasionally they try to change things up by... you'll see here in a sec, I think. I won't be able to shoot when I get hit by this thing. So I have to just dodge everything. Which, I mean, you know... not my favorite mechanic in the world. It's a fucking shooting game. I'd like to be able to shoot guys. I just have to dodge. But I suppose they're trying to keep it interesting. But really, you can see I played 3 separate stages so far, I think, or at least 2, and the enemies are all the same. There's not really much going on. You know, I guess if you're thinking of it, shit, I died. In a real kind of retro, like I was describing those games before, like Galaga or whatever, they didn't have that many enemy types. They didn't have that many enemy types, so I guess it is not that unprecedented. But for a game at this point in time, you know, you expect a little variation in the stuff you're up against. I'm tired of these little red floating mine dudes. They're just a pain in my ass. No, the virus was deleted. Oh, look at this, the virus again. And the text, the little commentary in this game is just horrible. It's really amateurish. Keyboard, short circuit, infected, and it's like, the virus? Again? So now I can't control myself, so I'm just endlessly rotating in a circle, so that's fun. I can dash, but otherwise I have no control. Oh, the virus was deleted. Thank you so much. Alright. I do kind of like the 2 parts. The look of them is pretty fun, and the swirling around 360. And of course, as soon as I said that, I'm back into one of these little boring left-right 2D parts. Or I beat the stage. Alright, I beat the stage. Past this one. I cannot get past this one, so I will not play anymore after this. But honestly, this one is a pain in the ass, because as you'll see, the one boss they've given me in these 5 stages, or 6 stages, is a really lame just circle with spikes on it, and in this particular round, there's like no way to get away from him. He has this really fucking cheap attack that you can't dodge, you can't do anything about. There's no way to, like, predict. And eventually he just wears you down. One thing I'll say, too, is there's, like, no HUD, which in a lot of VR games that's pretty sweet, but in this one, your side weapons, like this thing and the beam, they kind of get depleted, but you have no clue about how much you have at any given point. Like, it'll say weapon recharge, and then you just like, what did I have before? I don't even know. And the shields, the armor, the same way. Like, I don't see any visual representation of how much armor I have. Get away from me, virus. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I caught it anyways. My thruster circuit's inverted.
Are you going to review the drinking ball game?
So I totally have comments-to-speech enabled on this thing, but it speaks them in this really weird computer voice. And it's just coming out of my TV, so I have no clue what anybody's saying. I will respond to you afterwards, maybe. Let's see. So this, I think, is going to be the boss I was talking about, who just, you'll see. It's just a real fucking pain in the ass. So this guy, oh, Mr. Spinny guy with a spike thing. These attacks, they spin across the entire stage, and there's a dodge. Like, there's a dodge that's supposed to protect you from everything. And I can dodge my ass off in these parts, and I still get hurt. But I have no representation of what my life is. So I'll just randomly die at some point in this boss fight with no clue as to what occurred. And my special attacks are meaningless because there's like this dumb charge up before each of these little... Oh my god. Like, these guys are so slow. And the beam lasts for like half of a millisecond. So that doesn't do any fucking damage. Unless it's charged, which, like I said, there's no representation of. Like, this game could be alright, honestly, if they did a few things. But it's been out for a while, so I doubt that they will. Alright, see, I died. So those, yeah, those attacks, I mean, really, there's no rhyme or reason to how to avoid them. They just kind of spin around the entire tube, and then I guess I'm supposed to hit him there. Maybe I just have to get hurt every time. Like, if anybody sees a pattern to this, surely let me know, but it looks like bullshit to me. It looks like lazy fucking design. Like, give me a real boss. That attack is stupid. I don't like this thing. If maybe later in the game there's something better, but, you know, by this point, I'm not totally in love. Ah, and then I'm dead again. Alright, so this is what happened to me for about 5 or 10 minutes before I did this review on this particular stage. And I think I might just call it. So, you know, like I said, it's $10, it's cheap. If it looks like fun, despite everything I've said, surely grab it. You know, maybe you'll enjoy it. There are some things to recommend it. The look of these, when you're in the tube and you're flipping around in 3D, it's kind of fun. But just the enemies are, like I said, tedious, annoying, cheap sometimes, and it doesn't feel difficult for any good reason. So, I played a lot of shooter games like this, and it's definitely in the category. So, that is my review. That is all. Good night. I am signing off. How do I get the fuck out of this game?